Welcome back to the Explorer ST channel. I'm Josh, and you're probably asking yourself, why am I holding this Whoosh downpipe? Well, if you look at the title of the video, I swapped from Whoosh downpipes on my Ford Explorer 2022 ST to the Cvfab downpipes, and I'll show you a picture of those now, and for a very specific reason. So let's talk about it quickly, and then we're gonna have some in footage in the car. Hopefully you guys can hear what I'm talking about. And if you're wondering, if you're looking at these downpipes, I'm going to tell you a little bit about these before we get into that so you can make a better informed decision based on my experience with them, which is fairly limited, to be honest. All right, so kind of my long drawn out story summarized really quickly is I had factory downpipes. I installed thermal 3-inch exhaust, and it wasn't too bad. I didn't mind it. It was loud, but it was a little louder than what I wanted. Well, I bought and installed the Whoosh downpipes, and when I did that, it became really throaty and really raspy and really loud. So it was a bit too much for me. So I actually went back to the stock exhaust. I sold the 3-inch, and then I got the 2.5-inch thermal exhaust. And I'm not tied to thermal. This isn't a sales pitch for them. It's just the two exhausts that I have experience with. So I ran those with the Whoosh, and you're gonna hear those in the video. So I like the sound overall and the overall loudness of it. But there's one specific part that I did not like. It was really raspy and really kind of hollow sounding when it shifted down to about 2,000 RPM and when I was under like mild to hard load. So I decided I was gonna try the Cvfab downpipes. I had a buddy who has a 2025. He had the Cvfab with 3-inch, and he didn't even have that specific tone or rasp at that RPM and load condition that I was looking to get rid of. So I felt like those were a good choice. So I made the swap. Now I'm going to tell you that the outside diameter of, and let me grab a downpipe to explain this. This OD, not on this is the Whoosh, but on the Cvfab downpipe was, I think, bigger than what it needed to be, because I've had this thermal exhaust on stock downpipes, on these Whoosh downpipes. When I went to do it on the Cvfab, the thermal flex pipe part would not slip over the Cvfab, and I had to get an exhaust like tailpipe expander and fight it, and it took quite a bit of effort. I mean, several hours to get them on. So I did have that experience while installing it, but overall I am still really happy with the outcome, and I'm gonna go ahead and get into the in-car stuff now. Again, you're gonna have to excuse the audio a little bit. I'm recording audio both in the cabin, and then I'm using this same exact mic, which is not great for this, but it's basically strapped right here to basically the hitch cover area. So that's where you're hearing the exhaust note from, and they're overlaid, and I play some with just that in it, but know that you're gonna get a little bit of wind noise. It's not perfect audio because I don't have the perfect audio setup for it. All right, so the best way to probably give you guys an idea of sound is I'm recording this on two channels, one on me, one on the exhaust, and this is with the Whoosh downpipes thermal 2.5. And like I said, I've run a mix of all these, and I'll get you guys some POV too through here, but it'll kind of be broken up. But yeah, we're just gonna take a quick lap around, because one thing is with the exhaust and the downpipes, they all kind of sound the same at wide open throttle. Yeah, the 3-inch is gonna be louder, but you know, at wide open throttle they're going to be pretty much the same, and we're not driving at wide open throttle all the time, so I want to capture what it's like to drive around. So I want to try and capture what it's like to drive around in normal and sport mode, and kind of what the exhaust sounds like. It's hard to tell from the cabin, so that's why we have this, and we'll do a direct comparison to the Cvfab. All right, so this is normal mode. You know, we're just kind of normal cruising. And the one thing I don't like about the Whoosh so much is that in normal mode, when it kind of shifts up and hits that lower RPM, it's got a very hollow sound. Now, I'm not sure the Cvfab is going to do anything different. Once it's up in RPM, they're all pretty similar, but we're going to make a turn here, and we'll turn this into sport mode. And then, yeah, we'll get some kind of sport mode sound for you guys. All right, so now we're in sport mode. Obviously, it's going to hold more RPM, and it does not sound bad at all. I said the worst part is if you get it in kind of low RPM. I'll try and get this to shift to 7 here. Right there. Hopefully you guys can hear that in the audio back there, but yeah, it's probably my least favorite part of this. So turn out here again, I'll kind of get on it so you can hear it. We'll have a reference for those two, but then we're going to install the Cvfab, and we'll basically do the same route, the same normal and everything, give you guys the idea of what these sound like, what you might want to buy. All right, so we'll get on it a little bit so you can hear. So this camera may move around a little bit. So yeah, I'm sure they're all going to sound probably about the same. But yeah, that's basically full acceleration. And yeah, to me they sound all the same at wide open. Maybe a little bit of difference, but they all sound pretty good. But it's this part of it right here, this 2000 RPM, where you're going to be 99% of the time. And I don't care for the sound of the Whoosh. You know, it's completely subjective. Some people will, just not something that I'm into. So I'm hoping the Cvfab's a little different. All right, so we're going to fire this up, and I'm just going to drive. You're hearing cold start right now. I'm just going to shut up. I'm going to do normal mode, sport mode, just for a minute or two. I can tell a difference. I'm not sure what you guys will hear, you know, as far as the audio equipment and the camera on this. So yeah, we're gonna pull out the driveway, and we'll see what you guys can hear. Now, just say if you didn't pick that up, that shift right there is where I would normally hear a little bit more raspiness, a little bit more hollow sounding. And sport mode, to me, they kind of all sound the same in sport mode, up in RPM. So kind of all the same to me there. Not much difference, but you guys will be listening to this and be able to kind of make up your own mind about what you think. We'll go over this more in person on camera too. Well, I appreciate you guys watching the video if you made it this far. Again, the audio is not perfect. It's probably not telling you the whole story. That's going to be hard to portray. I can just tell you that they sound pretty similar. At wide open throttle, they're going to sound a lot alike. It did eliminate that low 2000 RPM mid-load kind of rasp hollow sound that I was experiencing. You know, is it night and day different? No, but I wanted to get rid of that, and it just barely did. And overall, I'm happy with both downpipes. If you're gonna buy either one, I think they're good. Just going into it, know that, you know, if you're running exhaust now and you're just gonna get the downpipes just because it is going to make it a little raspier, it's gonna make it a little bit louder. And that just kind of is what it is. But overall, again, I'm happy with both. I would recommend both. I did have that little issue with the Cvfab, but it wasn't that big of a deal. I was able to overcome it. Most people, if you're wondering, do not have that issue whatsoever. I think it's probably tolerance stacking. You know, maybe my flex pipes from the thermals were a little undersized. Maybe the OD of that downpipe for the Cvfab was a little oversized. But I can tell you this, I struggled to get it on, but it's definitely not going to leak. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. More Explorer ST content to come. I'm just kind of getting this channel going. So if you don't mind, subscribe, you know, share it with a buddy. And I'm hoping to get some different exhausts so I can do some reviews, because I'm not affiliated with any company. There's no codes for me. I don't have anything to gain by telling you this. It's just my personal opinion. So hopefully, like I said, we'll get some different exhaust speeds. I've had the 2.5 and a 3-inch thermal. So maybe we can get like the AWE, and I can give you just my hot take on exactly what they sound like, what the differences are, and get you guys some audio clips and stuff, especially from inside the cabin where you're going to hear it, and hopefully that'll help you make decisions, which is kind of the basis of the channel. So I appreciate you watching. Catch you on the next one.